Hello and welcome to our channel. We have travelled for over a year all around Europe looking for the perfect place to settle down. Turns out it's Portugal. So welcome from our Portuguese village where we are starting a homestead from scratch. Good morning from our homestead. Today we'll be tackling a task that has been on our mind for a very long time. But before we do that, we have to circle back probably around 12 months prior to this moment where we have started our outdoor bathroom build. We've done a little bit of the flooring, started doing some bits, but we weren't exactly too sure on how we want to proceed. So we decided to do a big stop on the build. So we're going to go back in time now and I'll show you exactly what we've done.
Time to mark out where the floor is going to go. There's one more thing that I'm missing. I've got a rough idea now. I'm going to see if it works, then we're going to have to clean up the area and start doing the framework. So you can see where I've marked out these four corners there very roughly. It's a 3 by 3 meters structure, floating deck, but I'm not really fully happy with the placement. I think we're going to pull it out 60 centimeters this way, so it's up to that rock, up to this rock there. And if you imagine, you walk up here, you got stairs, you walk up on the deck, and then this is another path here without any stairs. But as you walk in this way, you walk straight on to the deck. I think that makes sense. Anyway, I'm gonna have some coffee. King is gonna cut out some of the weeds and shrubs that are back there to make space. And he's having some food. Hello. Should we start on this side, on the highest point?
I think that would make more sense.
Yeah, that's why you're in charge. That's why you have the brains.
Okay.
Yeah. Why start at the lowest point? We could start here and then make sure whatever we do there is going to be right straight away. Based off this point, right? Which is the highest point. I think I did well. Can get approved. So this is where we're going from. This is our point 0.
take this, yeah?
So we moved the whole structure 60 centimeters this way, and it's feeling a lot better now. You've got 4 rough corners. This is where you walk in from this side, that's where you walk in from that side, and then there's going to be a toilet and a shower kind of around there, or perhaps 2 toilets and 2 showers. What we're going to do is we're going to start with that's the highest point there, and we want to make that as low to the ground as possible. So I'm going to do some groundwork there, put a load of gravel to make sure there's drainage and there's a solid ground. All this is bedrock anyway. I don't think we need to do any weed management underneath or anything, but we're going to read about that and see what we actually need to do. You know, we're just winging it. So we start there and then we work our way towards the lowest point, which is either that one or that one. What I'm trying to do is avoid this big rock, so the line, this line will end where that rock is there. Overall this is challenging. We've never done decking before, and never done decking in that sort of uneven ground either, so see how we get on. We're stopping and starting today because of the weather, so we haven't really been filming much, because really when it stops raining we just really want to get things done. So I thought I'd give you a quick update now. We ran out of concrete blocks, but we got most of it level now. We got level between here, got level there, got level there, got level all around. When all this is done, and before we proceed further with the deck, I'm going to get some advice from actual engineers just to make sure nothing's going to fall over and destroy itself. But as far as a floating deck and as far as what we can build without any permission here in Portugal, this is what we decided we're going to build. And also factoring in, you know, the terrain. Without the special tools, which I don't have currently, I can't really be digging into the ground, breaking up the concrete. Pouring concrete was another option, but that's more of a permanent solution. And really this is just the initial deck for the toilet and the bathroom, which, you know, things might change as we progress. So yeah, we decided on this. Also, I have to say I really like the look of the gravel we bought. It's widely available white gravel. It's €2 per 25 kilo. I think it costs €50 for a ton, and I think we might incorporate it into the design a little bit more because it looks great and it helps with drainage. So we might use it for the paths, I don't know. Definitely in a garden in some capacity, and maybe all around the garden as well. 6.5 bags left, so we'll probably have a few bags left after this, but maybe we can hide the blocks somehow, because one thing I haven't thought about before leveling everything is hiding the blocks. We'll figure something out when it's built, but the deck is more of a priority, and then if we have to hide the blocks somehow, then I'm sure we can figure it out. Maybe we plant something there so we can't see those ugly blocks. Kinga's telling our little dog off because it's really wet and he jumps up and he's making a mess. Hi.
Hi, he's just been all over that, and obviously this is not washable.
It's so messy with the dog.
It's so messy when it's this wet.
Yeah. Because
everything's just in orange soil, and oh yeah, it's so filthy. Everything.
Spoiled little dog.
Yeah.
Another day of building the deck for our toilet. Last night we went to the shop to get some more concrete blocks, and we got some material for the initial frame of the deck, and it's going to be an experiment, but we're going to try and use light steel frame for building up the deck. I haven't been filming much, however we are fully leveled with our blocks. We've got all the blocks in place now. What I'm going to do now is I need to do quite a lot of measuring on the steel frame, and because it's raining I figured out a genius system of not getting wet, or at least being covered from the rain slightly. So this is my working setup. I've got a little working desk here. There's space that way. Eventually I want to carry this table on to the end, and this window here is where I can input my long objects through, lay them flat here, do measurements, get them out, and just do that. So that's the plan if it starts raining. If not, I've got a little setup out here. Also got some pallets there. So this is currently the workshop. So what I'm going to do now is do some measurements for the base of the deck, and then hopefully we're going to put it together today, depending on the weather. So the way this deck is going to work is I'm going to have 5 U channels and 6 C channels going across. And in order to do that, what I need to do on these U channels is mark out every 600mm, mark out where the studs are going to go, or where the joists are going to go, and I'm going to cut this out on 3 of the channels. The top and bottom channels are going to be as they are, and the 3 ones in the middle are going to have cutouts for the joist to go through. It's all going to make more sense when I show it you. This is the best way to make sure that the structure is going to be nice and solid. So this is what it looks like with the spaces cut out. And this is where these C-studs are going to slot in. We're not really food vloggers or lifestyle vloggers. I mean, we might be.
I think we are lifestyle vloggers.
Actually, yeah.
Vloggers.
We are, but we don't really share that we eat and stuff like that. But I really wanted to give a shout out because Kinga's taking care of feeding us, and the food is so good. There's some chicken liver, some veggies. Every day we've been eating so healthy, and I think that's what keeps me going and keeps us going, doing all this build, working during the day. We've been really working 100% on this trip, and I think it's thanks to Kinga's food, so give her a round of applause in the comments. Thank you. Cass, if you're watching, I need to bring some of this into the office. Remind me.
Now that you know exactly what has happened, this morning we decided to take this structure off, just because the bathroom that's going to be over there is really overgrown since last time we was building this. And in order for us to clean this, ouch, we had to take it off, because as you can see, all that is just super overgrown. So that's my mission for today. And there's a tree right at the back over there as well, which has fallen onto this, so there's a lot of clearing out. Right, let's get all my tools. Are you my helper for today? Because you seemed like you're a couch dog recently. You're not wanting to go outside today? Hey, Kafju, show your little pretty face. Yes, you're such a good boy.
Inspection. Do you have paperwork?
Huh?
Do you have paperwork?
Do I have paperwork?
Yeah. I'm here to inspect the building site. Who's in charge?
You.
No.
Yes, you indicated this job.
Oh, you've got a helper.
I do, yeah. Look at him. There we go. That's the way to go, Campus. Yes.
Pull it.
Good boy. Woo woo.
Pull it.
Yeah.
Nice. Hey, what happened if that fell over? How did that happen when it was like toilet?
No, I'm thinking we probably have to cut all these trees up a little bit.
Yeah, 100%. The more space we have, the
Because I think this one hasn't broken, it's just fell. Like the branch must have been too heavy.
Yeah. What are these trees? What are these?
I think they're called the cherry laurel.
Oh yeah, they're nice.
They're nice, but what do you want to do with all these trees? I have millions of them.
The shoots we could take and then just plant there. Plant into, like, that wasn't here last time, so that grows quickly.
So they grow extremely quickly.
So if we can have that as a little fence, that'd be sick.
Yeah, but that's useless. I don't like useless plants.
It's not useless because it's privacy. But that's
It's
what
not
we're
edible.
missing. It's not edible, but it's privacy. And it's,
Yeah, well, do you want to get we'll pat that and dig
it's
it
already
up?
growing. Like all this. That's pretty good.
Yeah, they're native to Portugal.
We could do it there.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, start with there. Probably.
Why you want me to dig it up?
I think so. I think the small ones, yeah. The big ones, obviously, just cut them off.
Yep, this is very overgrown. But this is actually a huge branch that has fallen down onto this area. And I really don't want to cut it, but I have to cut it. And if you're wondering why all of that area I was cleaning up by hand and not just trimmed, well, there's a lot of rocks on that area and we wouldn't be able to get a strimmer in. So let's start with this area now. The branch that I just cut down is that one there, going all the way there to the bigger branch. This just looks like a maze of twigs, like all that. I don't know if that's visible on the screen, but right, let's get on. So this is the whole maze that I've just done. This is what I've been working on before, and that's where the huge branch was. Yeah, there's not really any space to record here, but there's so much stuff still all around. And initially I wanted the outdoor shower to be here because, well, what else screams more an outdoor shower than being surrounded by trees? And these trees, I think they are called cherry laurel, something like that. They do look like a bay leaf. I wish they were, because I do use a bay leaf quite often when I'm cooking. Unfortunately, that's not the cooking type. It's just a decorative sort of tree. It looks pretty, don't get me wrong, but just in this corner itself, we must have about 50, 80 of these trees. Small trunks, because they do have just single shoots with loads of leaves, which look really pretty. And Martin said it before that maybe we could dig it up and replant it somewhere else, since it does grow extremely fast here anyway. And then we could fill any holes that we have in our fencing for privacy reasons, and then in the future change them to edibles, because I really don't like planting non-edibles, but they do grow really quickly, so that'd be good. But I'm just struggling to figure out how to clean this area up. And by the way, that noise that you can hear, that's our neighbour on the other side of the massive bush. But let me show you this. With all that, where do I start? There's not really a starting point. And just look at all these huge tangles of everything. What's a better way to think of a work plan than with a coffee? We're back on tonic espressos. Before my coffee, I was working over there with all the bigger branches, and I don't think that space needs cleaning anymore, so I'm just going to carry on with this side here. Last time I had the coffee break, I think now is time to have some lunch or a snack, because it's probably a little bit too late to call it lunch, but banana pancakes it is. So after my delicious late afternoon snack, it is now time to put some of the landscaping fabric on the flooring, so obviously no weeds come through next year like they did this year. And after that we'll be ready to put the structure back on, which means tomorrow we'll be able to do the next stage, which will be an OSB board going on top, and we'll be able to enjoy another deck on here for now before the bathroom starts. With the landscape fabric turning out to be so wide, I think it's 2 meters or something like that, I might be wrong, but I struggled to figure out how else to do it so I don't waste too much fabric, and I think I'm gonna do it in sections just to fill the last little bit off. because I think there's a metre or probably even less there, and I just want it hanging off a little bit. So I think that's the best bet, but we shall see. Finished. And with that, I wanted to say thank you for tuning in this week and see you next week.